Ever since quarantine began, we've had a lot of free time on our hands. Too much time. So we've basically spent it by binge watching a lot of different anime. Parasyte came out on Netflix around the same time of Global House Arrest, and since we'd heard how it was supposed to be different, philosophical, and it was also adapted by Madhouse, we decided to give it a shot. Because this was our cup of tea. There was an interesting plot, a main character with common sense, good animation. It's not like we were asking for much, just for the bare minimum. So we actually thought it would be good.
It's at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Well, were we in for a surprise in just the first 5 minutes of episode 1. Wow, a boob grab. So bleeding original. I'm not gonna lie, after that my expectations for the show dropped a little, because if it was relying on rinsed tropes such as that, then the screenwriter clearly wasn't as clever as he thought he was. So much for different. What was annoying was how up until then it was actually good, and it did a pretty good job at establishing how terrifying the parasites were supposed to be. Also, half of the time I didn't even know what I was watching. It's like the anime was confused about what it was trying to be. Was it a supernatural thriller or a novella?
Shinichi! You will come back, right?
Like, I think that establishing the genre and sticking to it would be one of the main things to do when producing a series. Clearly, they didn't follow that rule. Is this an example of how it was supposed to be different? Like, I'm genuinely curious. Anyways, the show alternates between these two by showing short action scenes of Migi and Shinichi fighting parasites and other parasite related shenanigans, then switching back to a stupid teenage love triangle that no one asked for. If they were going to invest so much time into the romance, they could have at least built well-rounded romantic interests to make me care about what's going on. But no, I've been giving the selection of a stalker and a broken record whose only purpose in the show is to obsess about how Shinichi is different now. I swear to God, if I hear her say that one more time.
おかしいよ、泉くん。そんな言葉、泉くんには似合わない。
And can we actually talk about Migi's death? Really? Migi's death, or whatever the hell that was so stupid and made no sense at all. The screenwriter or the director or whoever wrote this bullshit must have thought they'd done a good job at subverting expectations. Because the normally logical, emotionless and selfish Migi died sacrificing himself to protect Shinichi, who he finally came to recognize as a friend. It was supposed to be ironic, bittersweet even, but it wasn't.
It was all a lie. Guys, it was all a lie. She lied.
The timing was just off, so it made no sense. Shinichi just had no chance of winning Goto. He only stood a chance with Migi. There wasn't a confirmation of season 2, so this big bad guy had to die in the next few episodes. It was just obvious Migi wasn't dead, and he still had fragments of himself in Shinichi, and it was embarrassingly obvious that would come into play later on. So the impact his death was supposed to have just felt a bit redundant. It was obviously done for shock bait, and the character development Migi had up until then was basically useless. I feel like it was really dragged out to make that 25 episode mark, because it could have easily been condensed down to 13 episodes. Some episodes were actually filler, but since they sprinkled a 1-minute scene of plot relevance, it somehow managed to pass the canon test. I just have to give a major kudos to the screenwriter for successfully wasting my time. The show was not terrible, like we were able to finish it.
だがな、それこそが人間の最大の取り柄なんだ。心に暇のある生物。なんと素晴らしい。
Like, what am I actually watching? What is that?
People will be scared here. A lot of people will be scared, and I'll name them.
Actually, I take that back. This is just such a bad show. So the moral of the story is to not overhype mediocre anime. This was just our unpopular opinion, so if you don't agree, please don't go crazy on the dislike button, and instead leave a comment explaining why you disagree. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment and subscribe to be notified when we drop another video.